Today we will look at the passive voice, when we use the passive voice, how we construct the passive voice, and we'll try some exercises at the end of the video. Let's look at some simple sentences in the active voice. This is a sentence we're more familiar with. The postman delivered the letter yesterday. Someone has stolen my purse. What is the subject of the sentence? In the first sentence, it's the postman, and in the second sentence, it's someone. The subject in the active sentence is placed at the beginning. This is because it's considered the most important thing in the sentence, as it's the doer. So where is the object of the sentence? In the first sentence, it's the letter, and in the second, my purse. How can we use the passive voice? Well, in the first sentence, it's obvious a postman would deliver the letter, so we can get rid of him. We can remove him from the sentence using the passive voice. In the passive voice, the subject is the object of the active sentence. So the new subject is the letter. We then need to add a verb in the passive voice, which we will look at a bit later. In the second sentence, the word someone doesn't mean anything. It's quite unnecessary. So we can remove it in the same way and make the object, my purse, the subject of a new passive sentence. We can then add a verb in the passive voice as before. If we really want to add the doer of the action, like in the first sentence, the postman, we can add this by using by at the end of the sentence. So, the letter was delivered yesterday, and we can add the postman by using by the postman at the end of the sentence. So, we use the passive voice when the doer or the subject of the sentence is obvious or unnecessary in an active sentence, or when the normal object of an active sentence is the most important thing we want to talk about. So now we know why we use the passive voice. But how do we form the verbs in the passive? It's important to remember two things. First, we need to use the correct passive form of the verb to be in each tense. And secondly, the main verb is always used in the past participle, the third form. It never changes. So, we construct the passive voice with the right use of the verb to be and the third form of the verb. In this example, we're looking at present simple and past simple. We can use the verb to be for am, is, are in the present simple form and was or were in the past simple form. The main verb, in this case to steal, is used in the third form. Let's look at an active example. We'll use past simple. Someone stole my car. In the passive form, we take the object of the active voice, my car, to make it a new subject. Use the verb to be in the past form, was, and then the third form of the verb, stolen. My car was stolen. For the continuous verb forms, we use to be in the form being, both for present continuous and past continuous. The form to be, being, goes between the auxiliary verb and the third or passive form of the verb. Let's look at an example in the active voice with past continuous. Someone was stealing my mobile. In the passive, my mobile becomes the new subject. We use the auxiliary verb was for past continuous, being the correct form of the verb to be for continuous forms, and the passive form stolen, the third or the past participle form of the verb. For perfect tenses, the correct form of to be is been. So present perfect and past perfect uses the auxiliary plus been plus the third form or the past participle of the verb. An active example in the present perfect. Someone has stolen my watch. In the passive, my watch becomes the new subject. We keep the auxiliary verb, in this case has for present perfect, the correct form of to be, been for perfect forms, and finally the past participle stolen. My watch has been stolen. We don't normally use the present or past perfect continuous in the passive form, as it sounds very clumsy. For instance, present perfect continuous, which is normally has been stealing, he has been stealing my watch, would then have to be the auxiliary verb plus been plus being and the third form of the verb. So, here is a full table of the most commonly used passive forms: present and past simple, present past continuous, and present and past perfect. You may want to pause this video to make a note of them for the exercises next. So let's try turning these active sentences into passive sentences. Remember, the active object always becomes the passive subject, and we must use the correct version of to be in each case. You may want to pause the video to give you some more time. So the repairman repaired the printer becomes the printer was repaired by the repairman, if you like. It's past simple, so the form of to be is was. The workers are producing more cars. What would this become? Well, the workers are not that important, so we can put them at the end using by. More cars, the object can become the passive subject, and because it's present continuous, we need to use to be in the form being. In the next sentence, someone has eaten my pizza. If we remember, someone isn't particularly important. We don't know who someone is. We can remove it, and for past perfect tense, we need to use the form of the verb been. My pizza has been eaten. You could pause the video now to try some more exercises. This is converting some active sentences into passive, or even passive back into active. Remember the tenses. And here are the answers. Again, you can pause the video to check up on them. So today we looked at the passive voice, when to use it, and how to construct it. Please check out my second video, part 2 of the passive voice, for creating and using the passive with future forms and modals.